YouTubers, and welcome to another Doctor Who action figure review. In today's review, I'm looking at one of the releases from Wave 3 of Toys R Us's exclusive Doctor Dalek 2-packs. In particular, having a little look at the 4th Doctor and Dalek from Genesis of the Daleks. So there's a bit of a story behind this one, which I'll go into in a moment, but let's take a look at the packaging. The figures come packaged in a window box that features the classic series design. The side of the box features 2 publicity images, one from Genesis of the Daleks and one from Season 12. On the back of the box, there are 2 more publicity images, one from Genesis of the Daleks and another from City of Death. Almost a little wink to the 4th Doctor figure that this set was originally meant to come with. The back of the box also features a biography for the 4th Doctor and for the Daleks. The inside of the box features an image of the laboratories of the Khalid bunker, as featured in Genesis of the Daleks. So like I said at the start, there is a bit of a story behind this one, and the story is, this wasn't the original planned set. The original set was meant to include a different Dalek and a different 4th Doctor. Now, I'm not really sure what the Dalek was going to be, other than it was going to be from Destiny of the Daleks, so it would have been the light grey Dalek colour. The 4th Doctor, on the other hand, was going to be a tweaked, but better for it, variant. And it was going to be the Destiny of the Daleks 4th Doctor that we had seen in the Destiny of the Daleks set, and it was going to include a tweaked coat, so that it had a new texture. It was going to be the Seeds of Doom coat repainted and tweaked. And what was going to be better about this figure was that the scarf was going to be the scarf that came with the City of Death version, but this time it was going to be painted in the accurate scarf colours, and for the first time the waistcoat on that figure was also going to be painted as well, so it was going to be a far more superior release compared to the original 2 releases that we'd seen. Sadly, apparently there was some sort of a cock-up at the factory, and therefore that had to be scrapped. Whether or not we will ever see that version of the 4th Doctor, I have no idea. So instead, we got this set, which is, well, let's take a look. First up, we have the 4th Doctor. This version of the 4th Doctor is a slight tweak to the version that we saw come in the Sontaran Experiment set. We also saw a similar version release in the Genesis of the Dalek set, but that was minus his hat. So what's different about this version? Well, it's a very, very subtle and simple difference, which is he now has dirty trousers and dirty shoes. It's a very slight tweak. It works well enough. I can only assume it's meant to be from where he's been running through all the quarries on Skaro. I can't ever recall them getting dirty in the episode, but, you know, is a simple enough tweak. However, there is one thing that still has not been rectified with this particular figure, and that is the cardigan and the cravat. Now, for some reason, I've never been able to understand why. The cardigan has been painted to look like his waistcoat from season 13, and his cravat has been painted to look red from season 13. Now, obviously, this happened on the Sontaran Experiment version, it also happened on the Genesis of the Daleks big set version, and now it's happened on this version. I honestly cannot understand why the 3rd time this has been released, they still haven't released it in the correct colours. We have this in the actual accurate colours, this cardigan and tie business. Why don't they just take it from the Wave 1 version and stick it on? Now, actually, I did this with one of my other versions of this figure. It's very simple enough. Put it in boiling water, and this part of the coat will peel off, and then this section here peels off extremely easy. And if you have a Wave 1 4th Doctor, do the exact same thing, and just swap them round, and they plug in nice and easy. I would really, really love for someone who either has inside information or actually works at character options to come out and tell me and explain why this hasn't been changed. I'm sure there's a reason for it, there's probably a very simple explanation, but it just baffles me. I just don't get it. This is the 3rd time we've seen this figure, and, you know, I personally, I mean, maybe I'm just a sad git, but I'd have thought it was sort of blatantly obvious. I would have thought it was a blatantly obvious fix as well. One thing that I will say for this re-release, however, is the improved paint applications to the face. Now, if you have the other versions of this 4th Doctor, you'll know he really went through some weird paint jobs. The lips were really purple on some, the eyes were an incredibly pale blue that you almost looked dead. They really did go through some very strange interpretations of this Fourth Doctor. Thankfully here, the applications on the face are much better, the eyes look more human. Obviously he still has his quite cartoony eyebrows. Obviously Tom Baker doesn't really have any eyebrows, but overall it is much more improved compared to the previous releases. The articulation is of course very standard. The head can turn, it can't really do a 360 because of the scarf, but you can get a bit of movement out of it. The shoulders can do 360s, the biceps can do 360s, the elbows have articulation so they move up and down, the wrists can do 360s, there is 360 degree articulation at the waist. You probably can't see that very well because of the shadows of his coat. He also has a T-crotch joint, which means his legs can go forward and out to the sides, although this is of course hindered by his large coat. He has 360 degree articulation at the thigh, and of course his legs have knee articulation so they can go up and down as well. Is the head removable? I assume so. I haven't tried to take it off myself because I don't really have any need to, but from what I can see it is just the same version. I don't want to try it on my one because the hair on this figure hasn't been glued down particularly well, so I do worry that in trying to pull the head off I may accidentally tear his hair off at the same time. Now, like other figures in this particular line, this Doctor actually comes with some accessories. He comes with his sonic screwdriver, which is just the standard release that we've seen from before. As you can see, very nicely sculpted, and the paint applications are nice and tight, no bleeds or anything like that. And he also comes with this, which is the Dalek gun. You're probably thinking, this is surely the Daleks accessory. Well, I guess it is, and I guess it isn't, because if you've seen Genesis of the Daleks, you'll know that there is a particular scene where the Doctor uses this Dalek gun to destroy a set of tapes. Of course, this gun also works in tandem with the Dalek. One of the first times we see a Dalek in Genesis of the Daleks, he is gunless, like this particular figure. We do see the Dalek gun taken out of a case and then plugged inside the Dalek's socket. Now, it is basically just any Genesis of the Daleks Dalek that you have seen before, minus the gun. The articulation is just the standard, 360 degree head, eye stalk moves up and down. The eye stalk on mine is really stiff, doesn't really want to move up at all. Ball jointed plunger arm, 3 wheels on the bottom. Now what's been done here is that the inside of the Dalek has been sort of closed off so that you have this whole section here, but you can't see right inside the insides. They've put a bit of plastic around it so it's just black. Now as you can see on my Dalek, there are a number of scratches around the outside. Now that isn't a quality control issue, that is a me issue, because I assumed that the whole point was for this to plug into there, and it does. But when I plugged it in, this came off and this was stuck inside. And I thought, this is a big problem. So I tried to prise it out with a pair of scissors, tried to get the scissor, one part of the blade inside the hole here to prise it out, couldn't do it. Luckily my girlfriend managed to get it out, so thank you to her because she saved the figure. But sadly, while I was trying to do it, I did gouge a few chunks out of the side of the Dalek's gun box. Can't be helped really, because otherwise it would have been stuck in there. So my advice to you is, don't try and push this in all the way. It may actually be designed to come out, I don't know. There's nothing on the box that says that it is or it isn't. I just assumed that it was, I was just trying to recreate the episode. But you can just sort of put it in a little bit, and although it doesn't go in all the way, the illusion is still there. It still looks like it's plugged in enough. So that is the reason why I said it was more of an accessory for the Fourth Doctor as opposed to the Dalek, because if you plug that into the hole, chances are you're never going to get the ball section out again. The only thing that is slightly different about this, other than, of course, that he doesn't have a gun, is the very vibrant silver on the mesh around the solar slats. As you can see, there is a few chips from the paint. This is just a small quality control issue, but I've already battered his gun box section, so a bit of chip paint isn't really going to do any harm. Otherwise, yeah, it's just your standard Genesis Dalek with his gun missing. So final thoughts on this set. Well, if you've got the duffel coat Tom Baker in a previous set, and you've already got yourself some Genesis Daleks, you could probably pass on this quite easily. Part of the issue with this is that we knew what we were going to get, and then when we were faced with this, it was suddenly like, well, I really would have preferred that brand new 4th Doctor. Obviously, it's just one of those things, can't be helped. Like I said, fingers crossed we might see it again, released somewhere, but with talk of the line slowing down, that's getting very, very dodgy indeed. So, I mean, hopefully that won't be the case and we will actually see that version of the 4th Doctor released. If you haven't got that version of the 4th Doctor, then perhaps this is worth getting for you. Otherwise, perhaps this is a set that you would probably want to pick a bit further down the line. Thank you for watching this review, guys. I hope it's proved useful to you. Stay tuned for an upcoming review, which will be the 3rd Doctor and Dalek from Planet of the Daleks, which is another release in the 3rd wave of the Toys R Us exclusive Doctor Dalek 2-packs. Thanks for watching this review, guys, and I'll see you then.